Season 8 of the Formula Virtual Racing Academy. I'm Jake Scarborough, joined here by Scott Sandover. Scott, how are you doing today?
Yeah, really good. How are you?
I'm doing good, and as we both can see, along with the viewers watching along with us, qualifying already a few minutes in, multiple drivers up with times on the sheet. So, obviously, last season you were out racing with these guys. This season, you're in commentary. So, what's got the switch up this season?
Um, well, just more because I enjoyed commentating a lot more, and there was a lot of tracks, and even just the fact that I couldn't really get along with the game very well. I had a decent amount of points last season, but just towards the end of the season, it kind of trailed off, and I found myself kind of going like, well, I race in enough leagues, but I don't commentate for enough, and I wanted to stay within the FVRA kind of scene, and I thought this was the best way to do it.
Fair enough. So obviously, 15 drivers have set in a time. Two of them are actually more like three. Have a bit of a scuffed lap, that being Seb Mills, Brennan White, and Vestigo Badi. So obviously, a lot of things going on. 18 drivers here today. But what is there to take into account going into this new season? What do you think?
I think the new drivers are going to be ones to definitely keep an eye on. There's a couple of names in here which I'm definitely not recognising from last season. Well, definitely this XPG Limquiz, who is, if I get the actual driver list up, well, he's currently P3 in the Ferrari. He's 3/10 off of the two of the quickest drivers I think we've seen probably in FVRA history, with with Tyler and with Liam Crompton, I think it is. Hang on, let me just. Sam Crompton, there we go, Sam Crompton. But yeah, the top two there, definitely some of the quickest drivers I think we've ever seen in FVRA, and they're usually, if you're in and amongst that sort of part of the fray, then usually you're doing something quite well. And already we're seeing. Where is he? Is Limquiz a? Is he a reserve? Because I can't see his name on here.
Which one? The Ferrari?
Yes, P3,
Yeah, I don't see him on here either. Yeah, he must be a reserve.
For those that don't know, we have a list here of the PSNs as well as their real names, and there's certain drivers in here who we don't know their names, so yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely, because I think he's the only one that doesn't have a name on here.
There's a couple of drivers that are missing off of, as in that aren't in the lobby, that are on this list, so we may have to call them by their PSNs, but at least it'll be a little bit easier maybe for you to recognise.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Habib McCook, he backed off his lap and he was purple in Sector 1. Not necessarily sure what happened with him.
I'm currently watching, actually I'm going to get this stream up, but I'm currently watching Liam Hayes just pulling into the pits now. He's the other Ferrari, and he's currently top of medium runners within a second of pole position, or at least provisional pole, as there are yellow flags in Sector 2, but I think it's a slow Mercedes, possibly low on fuel.
Seems to be the scenario. And obviously, looking at the difference between the times, you see that 5,000 separate Dean Davison from Sam Crompton. So obviously, they're keeping that close battle into the new season, as they both are pulling out of the paddock area.
Oh, we have got Captain Beaver around
Oh.
at the top of the track. He's got him back going again. And that's what the yellow flags were for. As we also see, I believe that's Brendan, who's crashed out.
Oh. Oh no, he's just manually retired down the down the DRS straight. As yeah, Lennon
We have
Roddy
got a lot of
drives by
cars
him.
coming out of the pits now. As you should see the tower on the left side of your screen light up with outlaps.
Man, that line is being led by a Vestigo Badi.
Oh, there's contact between the two Ferrari teammates there. Limquez and Liam
Oh, one
making
of them's
contact
around.
and Lim spun.
That's definitely not the right team coordination you need to bring into a new season.
Average Ferrari teammates, I think what we've learned from this season of real life Formula 1.
That is true. Is there a car behind? No. Multiple drivers, yeah, just on outlaps. Oh, another spin?
Yeah, I think it was Blaze. As he's just trying to save fuel, but I feel that's a really strange strategy to do in qualifying, considering we are about halfway through the session.
I'm gonna... Oh, Chloe Glennon just had a horrific crash. Right into a tire barrier. Just locked up the brakes, it seemed like. Very awkward spot to be DNF'd.
I think Blaze is just letting a lot of people through. I'm currently on board with Lightning Luke. He's 1.1 seconds off. He was 6 tenths off in the last sector, which should put him about P4, and he does go P4 with that lap. It's a 2-4 for the Aston Martin drivers. Looking for a good start to the season, those two will. A decent lineup for Aston Martin.
That's the same Constructors Championship lineup from last season, is it not? With McLaren?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, so those two sticking together, just switching to another car.
And one to keep your eye on, I'm currently looking at now, is Avesta Gobardi, one of the quickest drivers. Hope I haven't butchered that. One of the quickest drivers, I think, in this league. Can definitely mix it up with Crumpton and Tyler, and he's currently on a lap. Last place, as you called it earlier, one of the scuffed laps, as Crumpton goes much quicker this time, as he's increased the gap over everybody else in the field.
I'm gonna go keep an eye on Dean Davison, who brings it... Oh, he had an invalidated lap time. So that's an oddball right there for the Aston Martin driver.
It does look like Avesta's going... I'm not sure if that's just my eye. It looked like he was going slower through one of the sections, but he's done really smooth on the throttle. But he has got a purple sector too. Now, we know this game can sometimes give out false purple sectors, but when someone like Avesta gets a purple sector, you kind of got to believe it a little bit. He's really low on his charge, but it should be enough to carry him to the end of the lap.
Brings it across the line. Where will that put him? Top of the charts with a 127.991. Sure, Sam and Tyler probably saw that coming, but that top three's with under a blanket, and that blanket is small.
Wow. Crumpton's coming on a bit of a slower lap. I can't really see anyone further down that could really mix it up. Maybe Seb, as in not to mix it up with the top three, but I think Seb could get a good lap here and maybe put himself at least within P7 or P10. He's already 5 tenths up on his lap, but he is 10 seconds off, so not really much to improve there. As he heads towards the final corner. See what he can do. He does go P10, and only 1,000th ahead of Tim Blaze.
When Rotting takes it down into the pit area, but there is a Red Bull charging down that last straight. Oh no, that is not sure who that is. Oh, that is Kyle. I'm not sure how to say his last name. It looks simple.
Kyle Davids, I think.
Kyle Davids? Okay. one of the Dutch drivers on the grid. That's how it looks like it'd be pronounced, but I'm sure that's just not how it is, because it seems too simple to be pronounced that way.
I do remember one of the Dutch drivers telling me how to say his name, and I think his name was something simple like Gavrona, I think it was. But I think because the G, I think it's supposed to be pronounced like it was like a Gavrona or something.
Oh,
and it was really difficult. And then when I started doing commentary for other leagues, and then even coming to this one, I saw that we had a bunch of Dutch drivers with like letters that I knew you had to pronounce differently. I'm like, do I just go full on British and just say it how it looks, or do I actually apply some sort of like language, dexterity into it or something? I don't know.
Try to figure it out on the spot how to pronounce it. But that is one of the special things about this league, looking at the nationalities of all these drivers. It is very, very diverse where everyone comes from. Obviously, you have multiple British, Dutch, Irish drivers. Looking at it, we got an Egyptian driver now.
Lebanese as well.
Yeah, Lebanese, Ukrainian, still with the Vestago body.
I know a lot of league racing is kind of dominated by Dutch and British drivers, at least from what I've done. And even in the few NASCAR leagues, it is very English, American based.
Yeah.
But it's great to see, as you say, in a league, in an F1 league, where again it can be often dominated by others. As I'm watching Liam spin now at the top of the track, we caught that live on stream as well. He's luckily okay from the looks of it. He managed to get back going again. His wing looks like he's survived, but his tyres might not have, and he may have to pit for another set. Actually, I don't think he's got enough time. There's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds left of this qualifying session.
And I'm sure if you're not paying attention right now, Tim Denhyer, he just started his lap, and just all this traffic coming out of the pit lane.
Oh, no.
This is not going to be good for his lap, but I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that's able to jump to the top 5 if he just gets that good of a lap.
Could do. He could join his teammate. His teammate's currently in P5. And yeah, there's the traffic kind of moving out the way at the moment, but there's still a long way of this lap to go. And also as well, he's pushing hard. He's actually got a teammate in front of him. I wonder if he's going to get a tow possibly here.
This isn't a good spot for his teammate to be ahead with a little bit of that dirty air, even though it's reduced with the new arrow. It's just still existing.
Will the teammate pull out? He does. Could that be a very clever play here? He's 1.3 seconds off as he comes across the sector line. He's 4.5 tenths up. That would put him in about P9 at the moment. But he's still got a whole sector left, albeit only a few corners, but there's still a lot of time to lose and a lot of time to gain through these final few corners. Comes out of the final corner. He's going to hit the DRS. And as he comes across the line, he does get a P8, so a pretty decent lap there for the Red Bull driver.
And a lot to take away from this race is, obviously, with 9 drivers all huge, under that second blanket.
Huge off there for Lindwiz.
Oh, no.
And Liam's teammate, we were just watching Liam. He's come flying off there. I thought I'd have a look at the top 5 and see which drivers were on a lap. And I saw he was like 3 tenths up alone in the first sector, which would have been close to pole position. But then I think he maybe nipped a car.
Tyler Dean Davison! Tyler just spun out! He
as
went hard
goes
into the
top.
Whoa!
Out of nowhere!
And a Vestago body's around as well!
Thomas Main from Belgium. And he's now retired from the session as well!
He got what he wanted, and two drivers at the top of the charts just both lost their laps in a matter of seconds in the same corner nonetheless. So now can Sam Crumpton do something?
And Nevesta getting out the way there. Crumpton, he's going to have no tow from any teammates. His lap is still valid as he heads down into another heavy braking, lots of quarter speed corner. The rear end steps out a little bit there. Sebastian Mills retiring from the session. The rear end steps out from
just the corner
there.
ahead.
And he's lost a lot of time there. And that's his lap over. That small snap, especially at such a crucial And I said it was the high quarter speed corner, but unfortunately the rear end just couldn't take it. And looking up and down the grid, it's Alex the G in the Mercedes going up into P8.
I believe our last driver capable of doing something now is Lennon Rotting as he takes it out of the final corner. The AlphaTauri, where will he go on the charts? Currently 14th. He stays there with not even getting a better time. That has got to be the most interesting last minute of qualifying I've seen in a long, long time.
I mean, I did not expect a FIFA of all people, no offence to him, but I would have surely put even a Vesta or something to do like a last minute qualifying lap that would shock everybody else. But there you see it, 36 thousandths, all it took to get pole position there for Darth FIFA. I'm not sure if that's even his first pole position as well. I'm not sure if he's ever been on pole before. That's one for the FVRA records to tell. But your top three is Thomas Main from Belgium. Trying to find people's PSN. Liam, because his name's Liam there, from Ireland, and Avesta from Ukraine. And this is where we find out that it's going to be raining in the race. Just add a bit more chaos.
Right, that is Liam Heisman, right? No?
I'm assuming it is.
I believe so. Yeah, it is. Just in the reserve driver role this season, rather than full-time in the Mercedes.
Now, in terms of strategy, I feel like there's going to be a pretty solid one-stop. That seems to be the usual thing when it even comes to 50% races. The one-stop is usually quite powerful, soft to medium, medium to soft usually. But of course, there's so many factors like safety cars. However, a track like this, though, I'm not sure how much safety cars are going to be an issue. Yes, cars are going to crash out, but it just depends on what the game is going to do.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot of factors. We saw that a lot last season. China is a race that comes to mind where that late safety car can just change everything.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You
yeah,
throw strategy completely out of the window, and it's just down to, are you lucky enough, really? Because, yes, you could be the quickest driver, but all it's got to take is maybe a small bit of contact or a little bit of lag, anything. There's so many factors, especially compared to real-life racing, but at least with real-life racing, you don't have to worry about the guy next to you glitching inside of you.
and as we just saw at the bottom of our screen, the predicted pit strategy for the either mediums to hards or medium hards, and I'm not sure anyone's going to do a double stint on the mediums before switching. So,
everyone's okay. I'm going to completely ignore what I said about the fact that it was going to be soft to medium, because everyone has gone on to, well, not a soft basically.
Yeah.
And something I've done in the past, which I might try and do this time, just because we've got plenty of time.
Thomas Main just looped it.
One thing I've done in other leagues before is do a grid rundown, which basically just literally go, oh, he's been disqualified as well, Thomas Main.
Not a good way to start off the race.
So, grid rundown then. So, starting at P1 is Thomas Main. In P2 is Liam Heisman. In P3 is Avesta Gobadi. In P4 is Sam Crumpton. In P5 is Tyler Davidson. In P6 is Kyle Davids. In P7 is Lim Wiz, because unfortunately I don't have his actual name. In P8 is Alex the G. Again, we don't have his name on here. In P9 we have Luke Davies. There's a lot of Dave sort of oriented names here. In P10 in the McLaren is Leighton Spite. I hope I didn't mess that one up. We've got Tim Den. Oh no, Tim Den here. Hi. Wait, is it higher?
I believe it's Tim Den Higher.
Fair enough, yeah, we'll go with that. Jacob Rhodes in P12, Sebastian Mills in P13, in P14 is Lennon Rodling, in P15 is Guilherme Messenger, in 16th is Chloe Jane, in P17th is Brendan White, and P18 is Habib Makuk. Apologies for the absolute butchering there, as we are actually going to commentate on some Formula 1 this time.
What the? Well, that was a terrible camera angle.
For the Bahrain Grand Prix, the cameras are absolutely dreadful. In fact, I can't even hear the cars at this point. But heading down towards turn 1, it's Liam who's currently in the lead. He goes deep at turn 1 though, and Crumpton's going to get the lead straight back off him. They're still side by side as they head up the hill. Underneath the Pirelli bridge, will they all be able to keep it in a straight line? Positions changing everywhere. There's a spinner off towards the back and it looks like it's going to be Tim. It is Tim. But still, Crumpton out in the lead. There's another spinner towards the back, and it's both of the McLarens, I think, involved in that one.
And that was just one of the McLarens involved in that spin, as well as one of the Red Bull drivers, I believe that was. I'm not sure. But looking back towards the front of the pack, see Sam Crumpton pulling away ever so slightly from Liam Heisman.
And the gap already 5/10, of course. If you don't know, you have to be within a second of the car in front to be able to have DRS, and it's only available from lap 3 onwards. It was big on lap 1. This is all down to pace, all down to just sticking behind your man or woman and making sure that you stay within that second.
The question is, seeing the way these guys are driving already, you've got 5 cars just in this line, a little separation to the 6th car being Thomas Main, the man who started from the first place grid slot. Now he's in 6th, so obviously not the way he wants to start this race, but could he recover in the long haul?
He could do, especially as we were talking earlier, but if the safety car does come into play, then that's going to be a huge factor. And if he's got the pace for pole position, then you'd like to think he'd maybe have the pace for a possible win, because it doesn't, it's not exactly a luck thing to be able to get as good a lap as that. So we'll have to see what happens later on in the race, as Liam is currently crunching that gap to Crumpton, but he's also got to worry about Avesta behind him.
Yeah, and just looking at that, thinking that Avesta Gobadi could have had a shot at winning the championship. Obviously, when the season started, I personally thought that he was the guy to beat for the title, and then missing so many races due to multiple underlying issues, it really makes you wonder how the championship battle would have played out had he been able to race. And we have another spinner, that is Tim Denhire once more.
Ooh. It's a little bit side-by-side racing towards the back there, but they've managed to filter out through the positions, and they're okay now. They haven't crashed into each other.
Obviously, as everyone's just kind of in a single file line, but DRS now being available.
And interestingly, the man who was on pole position, Thomas Main, has just set the fastest lap of the race.
And he has pulled down that gap to...
Yeah, as you say, it's still not over. Even though he dropped that many positions, he's still got plenty of time to fight back up towards the top of the grid.
Absolutely, and seeing the top 2 as they've kind of formed their own little bubble, it makes you wonder if the mediums can outpace the hards. Because obviously it seems like they're not outpacing them right now, so is it just something that has to kick in over time? Or is Avesta Gobadi, for example, just sitting back watching the 2 ahead of him have some fun?
Not sure, because of course over a lot more laps, yes, the hard's going to last longer, but it's going to have a little bit more consistent grip compared to the mediums, which are going to tail off at some point. This track is notorious for being very harsh on tyres, especially when you look at not only the surface, but the corners as well itself are long, winding corners, which are going to make the tyres scream after a couple of laps. So temperature is also going to be an issue as well, because if they have not set up the cars correctly, it means that they will get really high tyre temps and they can spin due to that. And speaking of spinning, I think that's
the captain again.
It's Habib.
And back to the battle for the lead. Liam Heisman is going to send it to the inside down the straight and clear Sam Crumpton before turn 1, allowing for Vestigo to be right behind the Haas driver coming to the first section of corners. But now Crumpton with the DRS on Heisman. Is he going to be able to get around? No, not even a move, not even a glance from the Haas driver.
And I believe down that straight there, as we saw the leaders change positions, I believe there's a position change at the back there with Tyler Davidson taking 4th place from Kyle. Kyle had dropped back a decent amount. I think Tyler took advantage of that, and he wants to get back up to this leading group quickly. Oh, there's a spinner though! It's Liam's round!
Oh no.
Liam from the lead of the race! And I think he was helped. I don't know if they stacked up at that awful turn 9, turn 10 section, but it has meant that he's back in P4 and Crumpton back into the league.
I was looking through the field to keep an eye on multiple other position changes around P10, so obviously that happening at an awkward point.
I didn't really see much. I was on board with Tyler, and he was quite far back. Then I just saw the spun Ferrari in front. Luckily he had ghosted and there was no chance of any additional damage, if there was any damage.
Single body
now DRS. Oh, that was interesting to watch on board.
Oh, and a battle for 5th, and it looks like Thomas Bain's going to get passed again by Kyle Davids here. Not sure. It looked like Maine had him cleared for a second. And
it looks like Sebastian Mills is now ahead as well of
Lennon Rotting.
Yes, and there's a move as well. Is there for the Haas driver? Yes, there is. The Haas driver moving the AlphaTauri driver there off the track a little bit, but not enough to probably warrant a penalty.
Oh!
Oh,
Speaking of the Haas driver, he loops it around in front of him off that curb and right across the track. Thankfully, he is ghosted.
Yeah, luckily.
That would not be fun to officiate for.
I can imagine the group chat afterwards wouldn't be very quiet.
Oh, yeah. Keeping an eye on these guys near the front. It's just a line of 8 cars. There's hardly any separation. They're all getting DRS off one another. Obviously minus the leading driver, Sam Crumpton. But now is Vestigo going to look for a pass? Because you'd think being on the, the softer tire, you're going to want the lead quicker so you can pull away. And that's exactly what he's going to do to the inside and clears Crumpton before T1. Now can he hold on to it down this next DRS straight?
He didn't have as good of an exit. He's come off of the ERS, so I think he wants to sit back maybe for a little bit, maybe wait to the next DRS zone, or at least wait another lap before thinking about a move. And while that was happening, while Crumpton lost the position, it looked like that his teammate had lost the rear at one of the probably the most dangerous corners on this track. And it's meant that he's now slipped back behind Habib, and he's now in 18th place.
So obviously it's a win-lose for Haas in their paddock area, as they have one car battling for the lead and the other towards the bottom of the pit, now making it up into 17th, passing the captain.
Can Avesta break away? Maybe it wasn't the best decision for Crumpton to stick back, because now Avesta on better tyres is now in a much better position to push, and he is pushing quite hard. He could have very well have fastest lap this lap. He was 2 tenths up in the middle sector. As he comes across the line to end a lap 6. He doesn't get the fastest lap of the race, but still a very good PB. It's going to be hard to beat as Crumpton with DRS. I don't think he used any ERS there, saving it for maybe a bigger battle. Still couldn't really get too close to him.
Makes you wonder what he's got rolling through his mind, but sitting back right behind him is that Aston Martin, Tyler Davidson. He's obviously got plans to pick up this season where he left off last season. That was the championship. So the question remains, can he repeat?
Just to note a little bit further down the grid, Sebastian Mills, good little block pass there. He's having a nice little battle with the AlphaTauri driver of Lennon. There's a spinner as well at the back. Romeo. And it's an AlphaTauri.
That's Jacob Rhodes.
AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo. There's another battle as well towards the back between Leighton and Tim. Going side by side into this turn 9, turn 10 section. Will they keep it clean?
Oh, and getting stuck on that curb.
Hmm.
Kind of surfboard.
I wonder if he beached it or something and the game just... Well, yeah, the game made the car beach, but it didn't look very beachy. It just kind of looked like he went straight on.
It kind of reminded me of that curb that used to be in the parking lot section at Albert Park that would just kind of surfboard it, and Tim Denhire with a time penalty.
I remember one of my first few league races, someone got actually like stuck there. So every lap you just come by and you see them stuck and just hear them revving out the engine to try and get it off.
Oh, that's great. Great to see, but not great to be in that situation.
Ooh,
but the
two
Mercedes
cars sparking away. Alex is forced off his teammate there, and Lennon could make up 2 positions in one here. He's got DRS. He's going to have the ERS open as well, and into the corner he'll have the outside line. Can he get the power down? He can't get too far off alongside. He makes contact, lets him know he's there. He's still on the outside. He's going to have the inside for this corner though. As they head down towards this hairpin, Alex, great driving here. The 2 Mercedes drivers trying to fend off the 1 AlphaTauri driver, and now Lennon's going to have the preferred line into the corner. Can he pull off a good enough block pass? He completely cuts off the inside line, and a great passage of driving there. It's still not over though, because Alex has got DRS and DRS. He's gotten straight past him. And Leighton has been giving a bunch of penalties there.
Oh,
and even a penalty as well for Lennon.
Oh,
and he's gone off.
And into the barriers as well. That could be some rear wing damage. If I'm not sure if it is on simulation or not.
But he did rejoin the track a little bit interestingly there. Luckily, I don't think it caused any damage to any other drivers.
Yeah, but it did check out Brendan White, and now he's just sitting back, stuck behind this, and it seems like he's not too fond of what he's stuck behind here, so he'll probably make quick work to get around as Lennon Rotting instantly went into a defensive mode. You see Chloe sending it to the inside and contact between those two.
It's still not going to be over because there will be DRS involved.
But you're going to see Jacob Rhodes try making a move to the inside of Chloe Jane. Not too sure what this move is. Too wide through the S's. We've seen this 2 laps in a row now.
Good move there from Chloe. It's always difficult when you go too wide there. As long as the person gives you enough space and you've got a little bit of a good enough bravado, you can go around the outside there. And they are still side by side into 9 and 10. More contact, but more moves, which is great for us.
Absolutely, and seeing as their battle is kind of sliding them backwards from the battle for P11, or if I even want to call it a battle, between Brendan White and Lennon Rotting. Oh, and it looks like the Mercedes got into it again. Oh, who's that around now? Oh, Jacob Rhodes went wide again, or went around.
And it's like Lim trying to go for a move here on Luke Davies. Luke trying to pick up as much points as possible while one Aston Martin driver goes for the win. The other's trying to secure a decent load of points, but Lim's not going to make it easy for him. And Lennon into the pits. An early stop, possibly for damage, and he's going to put the hard tyres on, a new front wing, and a new mindset for the rest of the race. And he's also serving a penalty. And speaking of penalties,
the captain has retired.
And there's a spinner. It looks like it's Sebastian Mills. He is round, possibly fighting with his teammate. He's dropped down to P12. And speaking of dropping as well, Crumpton has completely thrown away that close to a second gap. Maybe Avesta's had a mistake somewhere, because now the gap's been halved. We could have a battle for the lead on again.
It also could be the factor of tire wear, obviously, with the mediums that Avesta Gobati has on. Could they be just washing away now as Crumpton's going to make a move to the inside before turn 1? To keep it there and clear before the apex and bring it in. So now Gobati's going to try responding. He's going to look to the inside, but get nothing of it as Crumpton seems to pull away. Maybe a little dive bomb there. No, Gobati thinks better of it to stay behind the race leader.
And Avesta was about 60% worth of ERS. Meanwhile, Crumpton using a lot of it. He's only about 25% left. So could that help Avesta in terms of making a move soon? Or will he just think, I'm going to have to pit soon, so I might as well stay back? I can't remember exactly what the strategy said, but I could have sworn I saw lap 11 somewhere in there. So maybe this is when the pit sort of phase is like open for these guys. Maybe give it 2 or 3 more laps, so we might start to see them come in. But surely you can't go much longer on these mediums if you're going to go longer on the hards, unless they are planning on going to the softs.
Obviously, some bold decision making is going to have to factor into what these guys do.
And already possible drivers of the day. We've got Crumpton currently leading the race, but he's gone up 3 positions since the start. Of course, that dramatic qualifying has led to it, but he might not have to lead for very long, though. Avesta up the inside. Nice little block pass. And from what it looks like, Avesta's going to have the lead, but only for a short while as Crumpton looking for the outside. Don't think you can really cut back on this corner. No, you can't. But as you see on the screen, though, if you see that... actually, no, you haven't got telemetry up on that, have you?
No, I don't.
On my screen, at least, I can see the blue spanner and screwdriver sign, which means pit window is open.
And seeing that's open for Sam Crumpton, but not Avesta Gobati, it's starting to make me wonder, is Gobati actually going to try the one-stop to the softs?
I think it's...
Oh, and a little snap right there from the Alpine.
Ooh.
Losing a lot of time, and there's a Mercedes around. I think that was Seb Mills again.
Again, yeah. But another two possible driver of the day contenders. Chloe, yes, they haven't pitted yet, but she's managed to fight her way up to P11. She's got 5 places, and Brendan White going up 7 places, up into P10, into the points for the Williams, trying to make it a double points finish for the Williams drivers today. And speaking of, though, actually that's not a Williams driver, is it? Kyle into the pits, but he's also got a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
Yeah, not good for his day when he was not necessarily up towards the front, but kind of just sitting behind, watching, and he could have been a factor towards the end with the way these guys are racing. But Gobati's still right there behind Crumpton, and contact between the two, as Crumpton had an error that almost allowed Gobati to get around, and he's going to look to the outside, and more contact between the two.
Ooh, that got very close into the corner there.
and nose to tail for four separate cars, four different teams, as you see. Oh, and a little bit of contact
Oh!
again. That's going to put Sam Crumpton to the back of the line, now in P4, in just a matter of seconds.
I'm on board with Liam, and it's interesting. He's trying to brake at a point where it's quick enough, but he almost made contact with Tyler 2 corners in a row, and both times that they had made contact, I'm sure of it that Tyler would have gone round. Vesta now, with his pit window open, will he take this opportunity to go into the pits? Will any of the leaders take the opportunity to go into the pits? It doesn't look like any of them do.
For a second I thought Gobati was going to send it in, but now that was just to break the slipstream down the main straight. And seeing the way these guys are battling, these are 4 drivers all capable of winning this race that all want the same thing. But look who's in the back of the picture. That's Thomas Main. He's resurfaced towards the front pack, and
Tyler
he
now
wants a bit of this.
Tyler with an amazing move around the outside through the slalom section, on par of what Chloe did earlier. And Tyler with a move up into the lead as they're all looking to pit. The question is, if they do all decide to pit on the same lap, who comes out ahead of the other? Because we all know that if the game lets
Liam
driver
Heisman's
through,
around.
Oh no.
And there's another incident in the back. I believe that's Tim Hire once more. And that was involved with Leighton Spite. Seems like those two have come into contact a few times so far tonight. But now, there's a 2-second gap separating second to third. So this changes everything before the pit cycles kick in for these lead guys.
And Tyler staying out. Avesta this time pitting though. Lap 15, he pits. And he's the only one out of this leading group to do so. Of course, he is the only one in this leading group left on the mediums. He will go straight onto the hard tyre. And let's see how he can do, what he can do on these hard tyres, because the warm-up phase for those hards is not fun from personal experience. It is not very good. It's probably better to start on the hards. Yes, you have maybe a not very good start, but at least you have a good finish, and at least you won't have to worry too much about warming up those hards.
And keeping an eye on the battle. Not necessarily battle, but the sandwich that Luke Davies seems to have gotten himself in with the Ferraris.
Both of these Ferraris need to pit. In fact, having a look at who's actually pit so far, only 5 drivers have actually pitted. I say that though, a lot of the backmarkers in this race are pitting now. 5 of the drivers towards the rear of the pack have decided to pit. So they will be coming out on fresher tyres soon. And if there is a caution, if there is a safety car, then it does mean that they will be on a lot better tyres. But I think the gap between them and the leaders is so great that it wouldn't really have much of an effect on their positions. As we see Thomas pitting now.
Yeah, Thomas Main in and Lim Heise. Just 5-second time penalty, speeding in. Lots of these guys getting the speeding penalty. And a new front wing for Thomas Main. Makes you wonder, if he was catching that pack with a broken wing, then who's to say he can't catch him again with a repaired one. But a mile behind Gobati, who is way up the road on some warmed up tires.
Well, I'm watching a battle here between Lim and Mimula 1. Got a little bit tasty there. decent amount of contact between the two drivers. And there is a spinner as well. It's Tyler!
No.
Tyler from the lead has spun in what seemed like such a safe position. He's the first of the hard drivers to crack, and the number 58 Aston Martin driver has spun it in a corner which not a lot of people spin. We did see someone have a moment there in qualifying. But is that a sign that these hards are really starting to struggle? And of course,
well, as you say that, Sam Crumpton's going to dive it in.
And so does Tyler, so does Liam. Luke stays out. Luke trying to maybe go for an overcut on his teammate and the drivers around him. Maybe he's even looking to try and put himself in this leading battle later on so that they can maybe make things a little bit more interesting, and possibly, could we see a 1-2 on the cards here for the Aston Martin drivers?
Well, we're seeing a 1-2 as a possibility for Aston Martin, but look at what Vestago Body did. Sure, he had that first stint on the mediums, but now being on the hards, as second place goes around. That's Alex in the Mercedes. Obviously, he hadn't pit yet, but seeing himself in a podium spot in case of a safety car, that could have been massive in regards to track position.
Battling behind here.
Oh, in contact.
Oh!
A nice save from Brendan White right there. But he's got his teammate Thomas Main, who he's just going to let right on through, as Thomas Main's got something to charge after, and that's an opportunity at a win, as Sam Crumpton's not too far ahead.
But Sam's being pressured here, looks like by Lim. Lim, of course, on a lap older medium, so he will have gone past this warm-up phase already, and he's done it to the DRS. But I don't think he'll go for a move here. No, he won't. He's still very close, though. If he stays this close by the next straight, and Crumpton doesn't have any DRS in front of him, then it could be interesting, as we see Luke Davies diving into the pits now, and Vesta easily will take the lead here. He may not have won it in terms of the racing on track, but a good strategy is all you need in F1. As we see Vesta blasting past to take the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. As we see Tim again spinning. He's not been a good day for him.
Thomas Main, fastest lap of the race with a 1:31.395. He's still on the hunt for that race lead.
He could be a bit of a dark horse. He's in P8 at the moment, but on lap 18 of 29, anything can happen. We still haven't had a safety car yet. This has been surprisingly clean.
Only one DNF, 17 drivers still in this race, and everyone's still fighting for something, whether it be just the position ahead of them or a chance at the race win, seeing how close the competition was today. And Brendan White coming out of the pits not too far behind a points-paying day.
And Crumpton, I think, just made a move on Luke Davies.
So, a Vestago Body's around! Oh, no!
And again, luckily he's ghosted there, but unluckily he's managed to spin.
In the same corner that claimed Tyler. That's not at all expected right there, but now a race leader with a time penalty. Is he going to fight like he doesn't have one, or is he going to just kind of let it happen?
I think Carl's still got a pit, hasn't he? Oh no, wait, no, he's on 5 laps. No, yep, messed up.
There's a lot of underlying questions for this one. New fastest lap of the race. Sam Crumpton with a 1:30.899 as a move for the race lead and a crossover maybe from the Red Bull.
Oh. Liam setting up a move here. He's on the outside onto turn 3. He's going to make him know that he's there. Both of them with DRS. Tyler's the one that's just got to sit and wait here.
Seeing
side by side.
Seeing this, you look at Liam Heisman, you look at Tyler Davidson, and they look at this Red Bull driver and they say, out of the way, kid, we're busy, we're looking for a race win in the season opener.
These guys as well, there's been a lot of positions where they could have crashed or made contact or had lots of damage, but they've managed to keep it fairly civil so far.
Fairly civil is a way of putting it, but when you've got Sam Crumpton, Luke Davies, and a Vestago body all sitting here still in position to win, but Davison, he's got a 1.2 second lead over Huisman as he sets a purple sector 2, so he is on the run with those fresher medium tires.
Question is, who spins again at that end of sector 2 or end of sector 2 long chord? We've seen Tyler spin there, we've seen Avesta spin there. It must be a traction control thing because I'm pretty sure it's quite hard to spin there with both medium and full traction control. But with traction off, of course, you can spin everywhere if you do it the right way.
Go body with an amazing dive bomb. The full send into turn 1, but now can he defend from the Red Bull? As he's going to look for a move and somehow holds on to that car, but now he's got Crumpton to the outside who he's going to hold off, and he's still going to manage to hold off the Red Bull, but look at Crumpton to the inside! He's going to make a pass beautifully on the Red Bull.
Wow. If you're Liam, if you're Tyler, you're loving this as well because the gap now is gone over a second, which of course, as we said earlier, means that they are not available for DRS. But there's still that bit of a train behind. Lim is lagging a little bit, which hopefully doesn't end up causing any contact between him and other drivers and doesn't ruin their races. It's getting very close, but we all know that the fine margins of racing is all it can come down to sometimes.
And just looking at the telemetry on all these drivers in the top 5, seeing they're all at 10% or lower, and then looking at Sam Crumpton, who's got 24%, the most out of all these guys. He's got something up his sleeve, and he's still willing to try it as he's going to look for a move on a go body. Let's see. He makes it stick, and he makes it work to go to P3.
And Leighton spun towards the back there. That's what the yellows you are seeing on the screen. This train here, the only thing that worries me about this train is if someone spins in front, it then turns into a wrecking ball rather than a train because you're going to have so many cars. Hopefully if they react in time, then it should be okay. But I feel like the only curveball in this race will be a late safety car because then it turns into, do you savour the track position or do you decide to pit onto the softs and give yourself maximum grip towards the end?
Maximum grip, maximum speed, maximum everything by making
and this
a
is a
switch
track
to
as
the
well,
softs.
unlike Monaco, where overtaking is ripe. You're going to get it everywhere, near enough. As long as there's a DRS zone, there's a chance to overtake. And even non-DRS zones, there's great chances to overtake. So, as we see Leighton retiring in the pits, he has not retired on track, which means that there definitely won't be a safety car due to that.
Sam Crumpton fastest lap now, slowly picking up the pieces with a 1:30.683. As the battling behind, it almost looked like 3 wide. Luke Davies is going to look to the inside of the Red Bull.
Whoa! Wow!
Little snap
what a
right
save
there.
Oh, he's round.
Oh. There's another spin. Yeah.
Wait, what was the other spin?
I think there was another spin with one of the Red Bulls. I think it was Timden Higher. Yeah, it would have been Timden Higher. Synchronized spinning throughout the field.
While one Aston Martin spins, the other one's winning at the moment, and he's currently 1.6 seconds ahead.
No. Sam Crumpton has gotten DRS on Liam Huisman. So now...
And actually, I've got the luxury of doing this as someone who's not... Wait, what? Yeah, I've got the luxury of doing this as someone who's not actually streaming. I can have a look at incidents, and I can see if they've got any warnings or not. as in the leaders. So, oh god, there's quite a few actually. I didn't know that. Wait, how do I see warnings?
They would be listed in there.
Okay, yeah, got it. So Tyler currently has 0 warnings. Liam currently has 1 warning that there could be a contact. Crumpton has actually got 2 warnings, so he's only 1 away from a penalty. Avesta has 0 warnings as well, and Lim, who's in the top 5, does have a 5-second time penalty, but I believe he served that. Oh, no, that was speeding in the pit lane, I think it was. So he's got 2 warnings as well. His most recent one being on that previous lap, so he's close to a penalty. As saying penalties, Lennon getting a 3-second time penalty, but he's in P12.
Just watching what's happening here with Sam Crumpton. He's closing that gap quickly, and obviously with that DRS being a massive help, the question is if he can get around Liam quickly, can he catch up to Dean Davison? I honestly don't think he can.
Yeah, I think even if there's a safety car or something, I think it's just going to be the quick drivers are going to get quicker, especially if they decide to get those soft tyres. Then, but Crumpton is getting closer. In fact, I reckon Crumpton might have Liam by the end of this lap. It's just whether or not he's able to get up to the top of the field. And speaking of, there's Tim Round.
Move to the inside. Can he hold it? Contact between the two.
Aggressive driving.
Aggressive driving, but Liam Heisman gets the DRS. Now it's a matter of can Crumpton hold his own on the inside, and it looks like Davison, he's going to have to fight a lap car, that being Jacob Rhodes. That's going to hold him up a little bit. More contact between the battle for second. Is Crumpton...
And Liam had to back out there. He went over the curbs. Hopefully he hasn't got any damage from that.
And losing a lot of valuable time for the both of them. Not sure why the contact had to come in, and not sure if Crumpton was forced onto the curb. It looked like that could have been the case and just kind of washed out into Heisman into the following apex.
By the way, if you're interested in the possible drivers of the day, we are still, well, I say still with, it's currently your race leader, Ram Tyler, or Tyler Davidson, up 4 places into the lead, followed by Chloe Jane, who's currently in P12, up 4 positions, but I guess probably the driver of the day leader is Brendan White, up 6 positions into P... Oh, okay, well, that's
oh, no. Chloe Jane out of the race. Could that be a safety car?
I believe this is in the window for a safety car. I think it's 3 laps to go, but I don't think it's going to be given.
There it is!
No.
Full safety car!
God.
The full safety car in the closing laps! It is images! It reminds me of China, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast.
My.
And seeing how close this field has been today, tonight, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're watching in the world, this has gotten interesting.
Luke pitting. Wait, let's see. Hang on, he's changed the tyres. Both Luke and Alex, P8 and P9, pitting, gone onto the softs. So's Brendan, our current driver of the day leader. If you go for positions, he's into the pits. So Sebastian Mills. Will Lennon follow him? Lennon does follow him as well. The leaders are being hung up to dry here. They have got a lot of positions though. But also another thing that comes into account, this means that for both Kyle and Lim, any chances of a win are pretty much gone here because they've got a penalty. And on top of that, Crumpton, with 2 warnings, is going to have to play it really, really safe here because if he gets just 1 more warning, that could be it.
And that's also basing it off just the in-game penalties. Crumpton could end up getting a penalty if anything comes up between the incident between him and Liam. And Tyler stays out, Crumpton stays out, but look at Gobati! He's gonna send it down into the pits! And that's gonna send...
So does Lim.
Oh boy.
Lennon, no, not even Lennon, that's Thomas Main. Thomas Main making up a position under safety car.
Was that
Thomas
allowed?
Main, he went up as they went into the pit lane, as,
And he's putting on mediums!
Does he have the softs available? No, he should do, because it's a race. You're given 3 for qualifying, 1 for the race, so I'm surprised he's gone onto the mediums here, unless that's a mistake.
That may have been a mistake from the Williams crew, because, yeah, he should be on softs. There's no reason the mediums would have been an option right there.
Looking at the YouTube comments, Evan saying should be a great finish this. Well, I think you're right, Evan. I think you're right. As Jake pointed out, this has got shades of Shanghai.
Call it commentator's curse, if you will.
To be fair, I was talking about Clubby being driver of the day, and then all of a sudden...
All of a sudden...
Is Alex into the pits again, is he? Oh no, he's just coming out again, but he just pitted. I don't know why he's going again.
And obviously safety car's going to go in next time. There's going to be no DRS? No? Because we'll be going green coming to lap 28.
Yeah,
so no DRS.
I think there'll be 2 laps. There'll be 2 laps.
Because it's not coming in this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no DRS. Oh my, oh my. And you were speaking about how this track...
To get back up.
Well, you were also speaking about how this track has overtaking zones, whether it be a DRS zone or not. So now, it's going to provide something as Liam Heisman's going to send it in, and it looked like Crumpton kind of pressured him into it. It looked like he made the move to the inside, tried taking it back, and Crumpton kind of just pressured him into not crossing the commitment line.
Fortunately, though, that's not a very good time to do it for Liam, because, of course, now with all the pack bunched up, it does mean that he's going to end up having to drop back even further, and he is back into P8 because of that.
Yeah, but it does mean he is on the freshest set regardless now.
This is true. Shockingly as well, I'm going to butcher that. I was into the bit. I was about to make a comment and say that I'm surprised that the other Haas driver has not pitted yet, but he has just gone to the pits now.
I think a lot of those guys shouldn't have pit right there.
Yeah, even with how far back these guys are, I'm pretty sure they should be quite safe. In Seb Mills as well, Sebastian Mills.
Well, I would have assumed they stayed out, because if they pit, they're probably not going to be up with the field when they return back racing, and even if they stay out and just catch up, they could recover any positions of people that make mistakes. And obviously with how many drivers have the speed to win this race, and I'm looking through 1st to 8th right now, you know, all these guys have a logical opportunity to win. And that's just talking off of the speed we've seen today.
Oh. I think Lynn may have spun in the safety car. Or something.
He's trying to get his position.
Unless one of the guys, yeah.
And Luke's going to give up his positions as well.
Safety car is in this lap. So the drivers that just pit will have no chance to catch up, as there's wing damage in the background. That could be a penalty for one of the drivers. I saw wing damage in the background.
I think that came off the Williams back there being Brennan White. Yeah, it was. I believe that's Brennan White. Yep, the left side end plate missing on the Williams, but 2 laps remain as Dean Davidson's going to send them back roaring down the main straight with Sam Crumpton hot on his tail, and a massive 2-second gap separating 2nd to 3rd.
A huge gap already, as you say, and heading into turn 1. They're going to go side by side.
And a crossover from Crumpton. More contact between the two, and a 5-second time penalty for Investigo Body.
That could get removed as a big moment in the background there for Crumpton. Crumpton's lost a lot of time, and Avesta's now going to drive past him like it's nothing. But Tyler, though, gifted a massive lead there. Don't get me wrong, he's earned it from how good his I'll say how good his restart was. But Gabardi as well in the background getting a little bit squirrely on the throttle there.
Trying to push all he can on those fresh, soft tires, the pace advantage, the tire advantage, based on wear and speed and grip and damn near everything you can compare them to. And contact in the back! No. Thomas Main gets spun out!
Your pole sitter has been spun around there, and he's going to give you... Oh, that's really harsh. That will have to get taken off there. He's got the corner after being spun, but the game's given him a 5-second time penalty for that, so hopefully that will get removed. Unfortunately, though, that may not have too much of a impact on his finishing position.
We'll keep an eye because it's the big...
into this now.
It's the big two from last season that are 1-2 coming to the final lap here in Bahrain. Under the light, 6 tenths, now 5 tenths separate these two. It's going to be a scary one. Avesta Gabardi with the fastest lap of the race with a 1:29.512, shredding the laps that were up there before his. Still
and Avesta's driving like a man possessed. He's got no DRS, but he's going to have plenty of passion. He's going to have plenty of pace. But just can he get past Tyler? Tyler's notoriously difficult to attack against because he's so good at defending. But look at that though, he's lighting up the track purple. He's that quick.
He's that quick, but without the DRS, that's going to play a massive factor on if he can get around. And a squirrely on the exit right there, but a beautiful save nonetheless to keep himself involved in this finish for the win. Not much separating these two as Davison's going to break the slip as much as possible with just one more long straightaway. That could be a major passing zone for Gabardi.
And I was about to say the tyres are going to be a huge factor, but it was a huge factor until we saw that massive moment there from Avesta. There's only one corner left, and surely he's too far back for a send here. Even if he does go for the send, both these drivers will not be crossing the line in their current positions.
And that just means one thing. Tyler Dean Davison ended last season on a high note with the championship and will start this season with one as well, with a win here in Bahrain. After an amazing drive, we see Sam Crumpton come home P2 and Avesta Gabardi with a time penalty that will put him back into P4. Not sure why that took place.
That may have been for I don't know. I don't know, it's the game. We'll find it. Well, if I were you currently watching this stream, if you don't already, check out the Instagram account for FVRA. They'll post the updated driver list, or at least driver results. Once all the penalties have been sorted out, once everything like that has been sorted out, you'll be able to see what the finishing result was from today's race. But it was a decent race at the end. I think even without the safety car, the racing itself was actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, the multiple drivers just knew what they were doing, brought a lot of pace into this week's race, the season opener, and a podium battle that these three guys definitely deserve. And what a comeback drive from the Ferrari reserve.
And the game as well, reckoning that the driver of the day is Formula 1. And I've got to say, starting from P17 and then going up to P9, 8 positions, that is no mean feat. And he's managed to do a pretty good job there, including Lim, but of course it's hard to tell who's actually finishing where, especially looking at that top 5 when you got all those penalties. But unfortunately, I mean, it's not exactly driver of the day, it's quite the opposite. Thomas, unfortunately, after that incident towards the end of the race, he does finish in P10 in the end. Not a good day for him. He'll be hoping that some penalties will get removed and some penalties that will maybe get dished out. He'll be able to fight his way back up the grid, albeit post-race.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder if Gabardi's going to get his time penalty taken off. Obviously, that 5 seconds from the restart for, in quote, ignoring yellow flag. So Not sure how that validates itself, but looking at his lap time with the 129.512, the only driver in the field to crack into the 129s.
And even then, surprisingly, only 2 drivers actually completed a one stop. And I mean, all I know this is with penalties and everything currently there, but they are the drivers who are currently top 2. And at least one of those drivers is confirmed their position because Tyler, unless he gets given a penalty post race, it's looking pretty good for Tyler. And he only did the one stop. He went for a hell of a risk compared to everybody else in those softs, but he was that confident in his own pace that he could go to the end, and it paid off.
Absolutely. And nevertheless, what an amazing way to start off the new season. But I think that wraps it up now, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, nevertheless, thank you all for tuning in. I saw that I believe our peak was 11 viewers, and that was for the closing laps right there when the safety car came out. So, nevertheless, thank you everyone who tuned in this week. Join us next week for what even is next week?
Could be tomorrow as well for is FVR tomorrow? Or are
Oh
we
yeah,
not commentating that?
no FV or I'm not commentating. I may end up being in the field, but yeah,
Ah, maybe I'll
FVR
commentate you.
tomorrow. But FVR tomorrow, and then obviously FVRA next week. Uh, as you mentioned, Scott, tune in to the Instagram account where you'll be able to see the proper finishing results and updates regarding the series. But nevertheless, thank you, Scott, for joining me, and let's look forward to next week, shall we?
Yeah, and if you are racing tomorrow, good luck for then.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So, as we move on to next week, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you then. Have a great week.